This screencast forms part 3 of a networking assignment. I am going to show you how we can manage our virtual machines which we have created using VMware. Firstly, we're going to learn how to unregister a virtual machine from the inventory. Secondly, how to register the machine. Then thirdly, how to unregister and delete it. Fourthly, we will take snapshots. We will revert a virtual machine back from its snapshot. We will then delete one snapshot and then show you how to delete all the snapshots. Firstly, I can show you how to unregister a virtual machine. The reason for doing this is that it removes the virtual machine from your inventory. It does keep it in your data store so you can use it again useful, and according to VMware this is useful if you have used the maximum number of machines that your licensing and your hardware supports. For the purposes of this lab, you can see I've created two new virtual machines called Screencast VM1-1 and Screencast VM1-2. I'm going to go to the data store, which will then show us exactly where these machines are currently hiding. As you can see, they're sitting in the hotel data store as Screencast VMware 1 and Screencast VMware 2. To unregister these machines, we go back to our list of VMs. We right click on the Screencast, and right down at the bottom you can see the Remove from Inventory tab. Click Yes, and as you will see, the Screencast VM1 no longer exists here. If we go back to our data store, you can see that the VMware VM1-1 Screencast machine is still present in the data store, but it is no longer visible under our inventory of our virtual machines. The next step is to register this machine. This moves it back into our inventory so we can now use the machine again. To register a virtual machine, we start off in our storage. As you can see, I'm in my hotel N7 storage data store. I'm going to go down to my Screencast virtual machine 1-1 and have a look at its files. As you can see, at the moment the register is blanked out. So I'm going to look for the virtual machine file, click on it, and I'm now able to register the virtual machine by clicking here. This launches this little wizard which allows us to select where we'd like our virtual machine to be stored. I'm going to leave the name of the machine as it is. Click Next. It will ask us to select a computer resource we'd like to use, and obviously I need to use my own resource. Click Next again, and it is ready to complete. Click Finish, and the virtual machine will be launched. I can now go back to my virtual machine tab, and I can see my virtual machine is back in my inventory pool for me to use. The next task in this lab is to show you how to unregister and delete a virtual machine. We don't actually need to unregister the virtual machine first, so in fact all I'm going to do is show you how to delete a virtual machine. The reason for deleting a virtual machine rather than unregistering it is deleting it gets rid of it completely from your data store. So if your data store is starting to fill up and you need to free up space, you can delete your machines that you are no longer using. So back in my vSphere client, as you can see, I have these two machines again. Click on them and I can see them in the data store. They're in my hotel N7 data store. What I'm going to do to delete the machine is very simply right click on it, and down at the bottom it says delete from disk. Obviously you're going to get a confirmation because deleting it is bad at some situations. As you can see, it's now gone from my inventories list here, and if I go to the data store, I can look down my data store and you'll see that VM1-1 exists, but VM1-2 has now gone. It's deleted. Very important to remember that deletion is final and you cannot revert back to this machine again. So the next little task on how to take a snapshot will show you how you can first take a snapshot before deleting the machine, and then you'll be able to use that snapshot to recover that machine. So taking a snapshot, what is a snapshot? A snapshot is basically copy of your machine which is stored and essentially serves as a backup which you can revert back to the machine from. So getting a snapshot allows us to preserve the state and the data of the virtual machine. Here you can see I've got a machine newly created called Screencast Virtual Machine 1-3. It is powered on, so I'm going to go into its console. And you can see I have an app here called IOmeter, which I'm going to delete by dragging it into the recycle bin. I'm also going to open the recycle bin and empty it. So now we have a machine whose state we have just changed. Back in our vSphere client, we are now going to take a snapshot of this machine by right-clicking on the machine, going to the snapshots and simply click Take a Snapshot. This opens up a little wizard and it allows us to put in a name for the snapshot, which I'm going to call Without. I can give it a description where I say I deleted the little app. I don't want a snapshot of the virtual memory at this stage. I don't want to do that. I'm just going to click OK. And now we sit and wait. I'm going to pause while the snapshot is being created. I can now go to the Snapshots tab, and as you can see, there's a new snapshot here which says Without IOmeter. Back in my virtual machine, I'm going to change the state again by deleting another little app called CPU Busy. This time I'm just going to simply drop it in the recycle bin, and as you can see, it's gone from the window back to my client. And again, right click on EVM, go up to snapshots, take a snapshot, and the little wizard opens again, and this time it is without IOmeter and also CPU Busy. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to leave the description blank here just for the sake of brevity, but so we can put it in. Click OK. And the machine has quite quickly created a snapshot. Snapshot without IOmeter, the first one, without IOmeter and CPU Busy, the second one, and it's telling us that this is the state of the machine we are in at present. As you can see, click on it and nothing is visible on the desktop. So to create a third snapshot, we're going to go back to our virtual machine, and we are going to make sure that we have selected the class files under Edit Settings. We want to be sure that we have the ISO loaded into our disk. We're loading from a data store ISO file, and by clicking here, you see I have selected the class files file already. So I'm going to go OK. I'm going to go back to my virtual machine. I'm going to open my Windows Explorer. You can see here we have a D drive. It's got the files that we need in it. And I'm just going to simply drag this file back here. We can drag as many as we want really, just to show how this works. So now I have two files added back onto the desktop of my virtual machine, and I'm going to take a snapshot of this. Again, simply going back to your virtual machine in your inventory. Go to snapshots, take a snapshot, and it's going to ask again for a name. And I'm going to say with CPU Busy, and add it. This time we're going to leave the snapshot of the virtual machine memory selected and click OK. And it is now doing its little thing. It's going to take a little bit longer this time, so I'm going to again pause. And after a couple of minutes you can see that with IOmeter CPU Busy snapshot is now visible. The machine is running, and you can see the console. There's two files visible in the new window. In the next step, we will show how to revert back from the snapshot. This is useful if something happens to your virtual machine. If it dies and you want to restore it from the previous stage, you can just use a snapshot to rebuild the virtual machine. So we have a virtual machine which is up and running, but we installed some new software and it broke the machine, and we'd now like to revert back to a previous state of the machine, well, we have snapshots, so we can do this. Click on the snapshots, and then click on Without IMeter and CPU Busy. Just above that, there's an All Actions. Click on that, and we click on Revert to. Current state of the machine will be lost. Revert to Yes. And the machine does its little trick. And as you can see here, our machine has actually turned itself off, which makes sense because if you want to go back to a previous version, you're going to want to reboot the machine. Click on the Power On button, and our VM will now power itself back on. Click on the console, and it will open our virtual machine again. This will allow us to log in. With our password as admin, and the usual wait time with Windows. And as you can see, the CPU Busy and IMeter apps which we recently installed are now not visible. We've reverted to a snapshot without them, so they are now gone. Back to our vSphere client, and you can see our machine is powered on, and the indicator is moved to tell us that we are now in this snapshot. We can revert back to this snapshot again by clicking on it. All Actions, revert to. And hopefully this will not stop the machine. It will merely revert back to a machine which is now running because we did not select suspend. And for a summary, you can open a console again. And as you can see, the machine didn't need to reboot, and we have our CPU Busy and IMeter app back on our desktop. Task 6 allows us to delete a snapshot. This allows us to get rid of unnecessary clutter and free up space. So I'm going to click on that Without IMeter CPU Busy, and here there is a delete button which we can click on. We click yes. Give it a little bit of time to do its job, and it's gone. And as you can see, nothing happened with the virtual machine. And going back to our virtual machine console, we can see it didn't stop and need rebooting, and we are still in the same state that we were in before we deleted the snapshot. So as expected, deleting a snapshot doesn't change the state of the machine as it is running at present. The last stage of the lab is to delete all of the snapshots that we've created. This frees up our memory space if our memory becomes full. This is a very simple task. We simply, in the snapshots menu of our virtual machine, go to All Actions and click on Delete All Snapshots. Click Yes. And as you can see, we have no snapshots here. Our console looks like it hasn't changed, and going back to our machine, we can see that it didn't require a reboot, and our apps are there as expected. An interesting little snippet to this lab. One would have thought that it would be possible to schedule a snapshot so that you've always got a valid snapshot of your machine available, but VMware doesn't allow this. There's no way in this situation of actually scheduling a, for example, daily snapshot. It seems VMware have done this to discourage people using snapshots as a method of backing up their VMs. So to summarize, in this lab we've learned how to unregister virtual machines, register them again, how to delete a virtual machine, how to use snapshots to revert a virtual machine back to a previous state, and of course how to delete all of these snapshots. This was a straightforward lab with no troubleshooting involved at all. Everything went as anticipated. Thank you and goodbye.